Hi, Dave. Do you have to manage 6 as if it is must win, or do you have to manage it as if there's a possibility of a game 7?
Yeah, I think obviously, I mean, it's not do or die, but I think that just the mindset is we're going to do everything we can to win game 6, knowing that we have Walker starting game 7 and, and Julio as well, as far as kind of pitching. So I think outside of Walker and Julio and obviously Clayton, everyone else is in play.
How long will you let Tony go, or is it more of, again, just the eye test for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's more the eye test because, he's shown that when he's rolling, he gets lefties, righties out. When he's not, you can see that he's not on point. So with guys behind him potentially is certainly helpful. But I think for me, it's just let Tony go until he's not being as effective as we feel he should be.
How difficult is it to sit around today and wait for tomorrow?
It's actually been okay for me. I think that just the last couple nights, we got some rain outside, so just to kind of hunker down a little bit is okay. But yeah, to get back out there and play certainly wouldn't be a bad thing. But I think that to take a day of rest to gear up for tomorrow is not terrible either.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah.
Next question's from Dave Vassay. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Just curious. I know people have been asking the players whether or not they've thought about what tomorrow might bring for you. I'm curious from your standpoint, you've invested a lot. Have you allowed yourself to see the end game of possibly what could be tomorrow?
You know what? When it does enter, I quickly dismiss it. And I'm kind of just because it's human nature, but I just really don't let my mind go there. I'm kind of just taking today as an off day. And then as the day goes on, I'll start thinking about game 6. And that's really all I'm thinking about. But, realistically, it would obviously mean a lot, but I hope we're having this conversation tomorrow night.
Is it off the table of consideration to have Austin start behind the plate tomorrow?
Not off the table. I'm going to think through the lineup, later today, and certainly not off the table.
Thank you.
You got it, Dave.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, have you heard from people over the last, 12 hours? Have you heard from a lot of people?
As far as friends, yes, a lot of friends.
What are they saying?
Just wishing me well, standing by my side like friends and family do.
Did you, I know you mentioned you talked to Dustin after his previous sort of rough outing before last night. Did you talk to Tony as well?
I did. I had a good conversation with Tony last night. Yeah.
What was that like?
Just telling him he's going to start game 6 and we believe in him and just go be Tony Gonsolin and, he's going to help us win a baseball game tomorrow night.
And I know last night you said that Walker wasn't considered. Some people are wondering why. Just what was the thought process there with not going with Walker on short rest?
You're putting yourself in a situation where after winning a game to put him in a tougher situation. So there's already guaranteed, at worst, game 7. So it just doesn't make sense for Walker. He hasn't done it. There's a blister component that we've dealt with that it just brings that more into play without the extra day. So we thought it through.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead.
Dave, just to put it bluntly, is Tony Gonsolin an opener tomorrow, or is he a starting pitcher?
Tony's a starting pitcher tomorrow.
And when you put your plan together for that game, how much do you hope to get out of him?
I hope to get 5 or 6 innings. That would be great. There's no as much, Bill, as people want to say there's a script. The game plays out. And so I'm going to watch him pitch, and then we'll see what we do after that. But I do know what guys will be available. So, God, I hope he can go. I want him to go as long as he possibly can. That'd be great.
And when you say the eye test, what kind of things are you looking for with Tony to see if he's, at his best or not?
I think, when his, certainly as everyone says, it's fastball command. When he can get the fastball, when he's missing bats in the zone, the fastball has the life. When his split change is on plate and has the depth, he's synced up and his arm speed is there. And when the breaking ball is not being cast. So those are certain things. He's a strong guy. He's got rest. He's got pitches to get left and right out, but that's more of the eye test that I look for.
Next question is from Jon Morosi. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. I reflect back on your year, and one of the enduring images is the night in San Francisco when your club decided after a lot of conversation to not play, and how proud you were of Mookie and Clayton and Kenley that night. I'm wondering, just from your standpoint, how much reflection you've done as well about, of course, being now a World Series manager and possibly a World Series champion manager, how that influences your platform and the ways that you can impact socially in the months and years to come.
Yeah, I think that when you're an athlete, or I can speak for myself, I guess, as an athlete, as a baseball manager, this is my job. It's not who I am, but things that have transpired over recent months has kind of forced, in the best way, for us to kind of come out of our comfort zones and who we kind of see ourselves. With the platforms that we have, and kind of pushing us to kind of share our beliefs on what's right and what's wrong. And so to see Clayton, Mookie, and teammates across the board do that and to make a stand united, I felt very proud, and it just really motivated me to kind of follow them. And yeah, going forward, I have no hesitation on speaking out on what's right, what I believe is right. So this is 2020. It's been such a unique year, to put it mildly. But I do think that when we look back, there's going to be a lot of good in some crazy ways that have come out of this.
Next question is from Jayson Stark. Go ahead.
Dave, it's so unusual for a guy like Mookie Betts to get traded. When you first realized that trade was going to happen or had a chance to happen, did it strike you even then how rare this was, that your team was trading for an MVP in his prime?
It struck me, Jason, and it just does not happen, especially when you're talking about the character of the person, and everything that comes with Mookie Betts. So all that, it just doesn't happen. So yeah, when Andrew brought it to me that it might happen, I just couldn't believe it, and I was kind of not trying to get too excited, but yeah, I mean, as it happened, Jason, the player, what you expect, it just exponentially, we got to steal. And I'm just so grateful that the deal was done, because it's not only helping us this year, it's going to help us for the next wave of young players and really enhance what we have as a culture going forward. I mean, it's going to affect players that haven't even been drafted by the Dodgers yet. So that's what I'm really excited about as well.
Great. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Next question is from Pete Abraham. Go ahead.
Dave, now that you've had a chance to manage against Kevin Cash for 5 games, what maybe have you learned that you didn't know coming into the series about how they play?
I've always admired the way Kevin manages his players. He's a great leader of men. I watch their team closely. They play the game the right way. They're grinders. He balances analytics with, just watching his players, trusting his players. His players are kind of very unselfish. They play the right way. It's very mirrored the way we kind of look at things, I would say, but just have a lot of respect for him.
Next question is from Marc Topkin. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. What kind of challenge does Blake Snell present based on what you saw the first time?
Oh gosh, many challenges. He's a heck of a pitcher. It's a plus fastball. He really did a nice job the first game that he threw, striking the breaking ball. So he gets left and right out. So he's a really good competitor with top end stuff. So we're gonna have our hands full. But I like our guy, and I think it's gonna be a close game. And the team that gets the big hit, makes the big play, is gonna win.
And just a follow up, if I could, they've made a season of resiliency, of bouncing back. What's the urgency you think to just end this tomorrow for you?
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to win tomorrow. So we know that that's a very, very good ball club over there, and nothing is going to be handed to us. So yeah, our only focus is to win Game 6. That's it.
Next question's from Mike DiGiovanna. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, there was quite a difference between the Dustin May we saw last night and the one who pitched previously. What was the conversation with him, and was his adjustments more mental, mechanical, or both?
No, Dustin I just think that he just did a great job of, slowing things down. He's a very emotional guy, amped up, a super competitor. But in this moment, the adrenaline is already going to be, you don't need to create anymore. So I think that just kind of being out on the mound a couple times in this setting, he kind of tempered a little bit and just executed pitches. And it was really, really fun to watch.
And he's definitely available tomorrow night?
He'll be available tomorrow night as well, yes.
Next question's from Eric Steven. Go ahead.
Dave, with Tony, going on, I guess, 5 days rest, is this the most normal routine he's had in October? And do you think that'll help him tomorrow?
It is the most rested, the most routine he's had, and I do think it will help him. And to his credit, you haven't heard one excuse. He's prepared every time when asked to take the baseball. But this, as far as kind of regimen, the best routine he's had leading up to an outing. Absolutely.
I have another sort of odd question. You've been at the same hotel. I don't know if it's 24 or 25 straight days. Do you have a favorite meal you've had there, or has it been kind of repetitive?
No, I do, Eric. So every morning I go with oatmeal with brown sugar, 2% milk, and some berries. I go with 3 eggs over medium, and I go with a side of bacon with a cup of coffee, and that's kind of my go-to every day, and I look forward to it every morning.
Next question's from Barry. If I messed up your last name.
Hey, Dave. Normally, when you guys have been in the World Series and you're at home, there would be, Lasorda or Hershiser throwing the first pitch, reminders of the Gibson homer. You don't get that as much here in the bubble, but I wonder, even if your players are not directly affected by 1988, what hearing about that over the years is like. You would have heard that when you were with Boston, trying to break a long drought. What's that environment like for a player or a coach?
I think it's interesting. It's we've heard it a lot, and we've seen a lot of highlights, and it's fantastic. But I think that we want to make our own mark on Dodgers history. And the good thing about that is Tommy, Gibby, Oral, those guys are all rooting like crazy for us in 2020. So I think it's fantastic, but I do think that we're really focused on trying to make our own mark.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Got a question from Emmanuel Campa. Go ahead.
Hello, Dave. Is Julio available for be a reliever tomorrow, or it's only for a potential Game 7?
I would say Julio would be available potentially for Game 7.
Next question's from Gabe Lacques. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. We're about to complete a postseason where the universal DH has been all the way through. And I guess I'm just curious, does it feel almost normal now? And does it feel like, maybe not necessarily an inevitability because it has to be approved, but that it's just kind of become a way of life at this point?
You know what? It does. And, I've been familiar with it as far as in interleague. And it is very normal now. And I was kind of always on the other side of that, being a traditional National League pitcher hit. But, I actually have grown. I've warmed up to it. So I understand that it's probably not going to be in play next year. But going forward, I think from 22 on, I flipped. I like the DH.
And how much?
Go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah. How much have you enjoyed it as a tool with the roster you currently have, just with dropping Will in there so Austin can catch?
Yeah, and I think it's just I just really like it because as far as this format where we're playing 5 games in a row in the DS and then 7 games in a row, you can kind of put the catcher in there, change the catcher, and then also in the outfield. There's that playing on turf here. Beat your body up, so then to kind of get Pollock a day or whoever Jock a day to DH. So it just kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility, and I think the fans enjoy having that hitter in there as well.
I have another question from Jorge. Go ahead.
Dave, 2 more for me. Just first, how did Cody come out last night? I know he made that really nice catch in the 8th inning. How did he come out with the back stuff?
You know what? The back came out great. The back didn't really bother him last night. Didn't affect him at all. So I think that we came out of it as good as we could have expected. And yeah, what a play! What a play he made last night. It shouldn't go unnoticed, certainly.
And just lastly, do you guys have any sort of team activity scheduled today, tonight? Anything at the hotel in the bubble?
I think the only thing we got going is we got barbecue ordered. So people are excited about barbecue coming into the bubble. And I think there's a little wedding thing for Brewstar's fiance, Allison, that the wives are doing a great thing for.
And then I have time for one more. Go ahead, Alanna.
Dave, as you work your way through your lineup this afternoon, if Austin is chosen to catch tomorrow, would you consider Edwin as the DH over Will?
I don't think it would be Edwin because of Snell throwing, and he's really been tough on lefties. So I probably wouldn't have Edwin.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.